like to start off with the one agenda item, the Bannock Street Railroad Project. JS, thanks for joining us. Couple of questions, if you
Sure.
might. I understand back in late 2007 or 2008 that the whole project came before the committee at that time. Is that correct?
Yep.
And I think there was, the council voted to move forward with that project
In
at that time?
2009, they voted to move forward
With it?
with it.
Okay. And so I think to date, we've already done some work on that project?
Yep.
And
The railroad, the main, last summer, we were able to work in conjunction with UP Railroad to get the main line crossing, a new crossing put in. And they didn't charge us, just like on the Reeder Street crossing, they charged us about $80,000 to put in that new crossing. This one, they didn't charge us any because we paid for the asphalt and we paid for the excavator and the time that our guys put in. So,
okay.
that's about it.
So do you have an idea about how much money the city has put into that project itself?
Engineering wise, probably 20,000 or so. The work that we put in last year was probably about, off the top of my head, about 7,000 to 8,000. And we've always had an issue, nothing derogatory about the railroad, but they're very hard to do business with and very hard to get a hold of anybody. They don't return phone calls, they don't return emails, things like that. So that's been very difficult to deal with. We've got 2 other sets of railroad tracks to deal with if they want to bring up that level.
Okay.
Or I know Jeff Sear, the engineer in that DJ&A in Missoula, he's been trying to contact them all winter, and they don't seem to return his emails.
The UP.
So, the UP.
Okay. Any of the council have any questions of JS? I do have one other question. It came up at our meeting that if that project didn't proceed, we would possibly have to pay CTEP back $10,000.
Yep. Well, the money that they paid us for the reimbursement on the design, which is about $20,000.
Which is about 20,000.
So didn't the council already approve this?
Mhm.
Why are we doing it again?
That's a good question. Because there were a number of people on the council that didn't like the idea of putting in sidewalk and curb and gutter, basically going over towards the bicentennial apartments. That was the initial design. And I said, when you guys make a decision on what you want to do, let me know. And we're to that point.
One question, in a discussion that you've had with me, you mentioned that the CTEP money might be dried up. Do we have any comment or?
I have not been able to get a hold of Terry and Helena to find out what's going on with that. There was rumor that Federal Highway Administration is trying to siphon off some of that existing money to use on other projects. Cause the CTEP project basically is no more. And, all money has to be expended and projects all done by September of 2015, not 14. But that could change also, being that Federal Highways is trying to siphon the money off.
Well, with that, I would move that, we go ahead with the CTEP project, providing that the money is there.
Now, is that for the sidewalk down Railroad to the bicentennial?
Yeah. And I guess that includes the four corners site.
Yep. It includes sidewalks from Montana Street, to the railroad tracks.
Now, is that both sides?
Both sides,
On Bannock, right?
yep, on Bannock. And then the corner by the Metland, the corner by the apartment buildings, and then also sidewalk and curb and gutter headed north on, railroad.
On the railroad side.
No,
On the residence side.
on the residence side.
Right,
Yes,
The
on
west
the
side.
residential side. And if that's the case too, I would like to hire TD&H. They were the ones that did the initial surveying and design. And they're gonna have to come in and change some of their surveying data because the height of that railroad crossing has changed.
Question, could we do the, Railroad Avenue spots first and then, leave the, Bannock Street alone until the railroad's done?
Yeah, probably could. I could check into that.
You know, I hate to have a bunch of engineering and stuff forwarded on that when it may or may not happen.
Yeah.
You know, I do
Yeah, I
know
can
we've
sure
had a
check
lot of
into
problems with the railroad, and, you know, we'll be lucky if we get an answer in the next year.
okay, I've got a motion on the table to move forward with the project, and I'm gonna get a better description of how that goes from JX.
Okay.
Second.
Is there a further discussion on that?
It seems to clarify all the points.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? No? Motion carries, unanimous. Is there any public not on the agenda but within the city jurisdiction? Yes, Bob?
The walking bus people, Route 1, we were kind of concerned about that kind of mess down there on Walnut, Sacramento, Walnut North. Is there any way I can make that a little safer?
I was looking at it on Friday. I'm gonna put a stop sign on, Parkview, and then probably a yield sign as you come by that funky little triangle there. And then get down and paint that crosswalk again. Cause that crosswalk with all the sand on it this winter, is pretty much obliterated.
So could that ever be made into a three-way corner?
We've got plans on that from the engineer to do away with that little portion of street in front of Brian's house. Just do away with that, and that would make it a lot safer, I think. I'll talk with Paul Kraft and see what his ideas are, but before I put the stop sign up, I have to talk to him, make sure it meets his
There's a police car down there, it'd be nice. I can't realize they can't always wait there. People don't stop and don't know if they're going right or left.
Seems like we kind of fixed some of those problems by putting in those stop signs down on the malfunction junction, to the east a little bit. Now everybody has to stop except, one direction, and that seemed to make the intersection a lot safer. Right.
And then coming up exactly what you're here, there ought to be a stop sign in there before they drive across to the yield sign.
I'll meet with, Chief Kraft on that and see what his ideas are.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
Jess, could you give
Could
a,
you
Mike Reagan for the Dillon Tribune, could you
give your name and address, please?
Mike Reagan for the Dillon Tribune, 22 South Montana, could you give a description of the project that was just approved, just an overall?
Okay, from, starting at Montana Street headed west on Bannock, there would be new sidewalks, curb and gutter put in to the main railroad, crossing there. The street would also have to be repaved. CTEP will not pay for paving on the street, so that would need to come out of, street maintenance. Then from the main line of UP Railroad headed west, we have 2 more sets of tracks to go over. There would be new sidewalk panels installed there. New crossings, I hope. There was talk of taking out one of those sets of tracks. That would solve a lot of problems, if they would do that. And then headed west, a handicap corner on each one of those 4 corners. And then, there would have to be a little bit of paving done in that section just to match up, if they put in the new railroad crossings. And then a sidewalk headed north on Railroad Street, to, Center Street, I believe, with a handicap corner there. And also there would be, curb and gutter to provide proper drainage on the street.
And was that what was described in the original proposal that was
Yep.
approved?
Yep.
So it's the same, the budget, I imagine, would be about the same, but there might be some adjustments.
About the same. You could probably take out, probably about 70,000 out of that one, because that railroad crossing, we were figuring they were gonna cost about 80,000. I think we did it for about less than 10. Because the railroad never did charge us. Of course, maybe I should knock on wood because they haven't sent us the bill yet. You never know.
So you sure not to print that one?
Yeah, please don't take that.
So, the original estimate, what was that, about 180?
Yeah, 180, 190,000, something like that.
So you think it could be as low as 120?
Yep.
Any other comments?
Yeah, this was, this was turned down by this committee a few weeks back. Does anyone want to care to explain why that vote happened and why you changed today?
Yeah, I would say I don't think we had all of the information at our last meeting on this project. And besides that, I believe this project was approved, as JS said, back in 2009. So, as Bob pointed out, we're not sure why it came back to the council. But obviously it did, so we reapproved it.
And what new information swayed you in terms of the new information that became available between your last vote and this vote?
I don't believe we knew that the project had previously been approved.
Was that 2009 or 2008, Chance?
Go get the, it's on my desk. I'll go ahead and read this here. Okay, I'll go ahead and read this a little bit here. The purpose of this project is to provide a safe and convenient pedestrian walkway. It is located on both sides of Bannock Street, between Montana and Railroad Streets, moving along the west side of Railroad between Bannock and Center. The total cost will be $195,253. Spit that out. CTIP funds will pay for $169,050 with a local match of $26,203 from the city of Dillon. Mr. Crawford from TDNH, he was the engineer with TDNH, said there were 2 sidewalks that would need to be replaced. Mr. McIsaac and Mr. Spear disagreed with him. If we were going to do this project, then all the sidewalks need to be uniform the whole way. Mr. McIsaac offered the bicentennial will give any extra money to finish the project right. Mr. McIsaac moved a rolled curb and gutter 6-foot sidewalk to be done both sides of Bannock Street from Montana Street to Railroad, along with the west side of Railroad from Bannock to Center. Mr. Spear seconded. The motion passed unanimously. There was some discussion about asking the railroad to work on the crossings at the same time we were doing the sidewalks. And that was Thursday, April 8th, 2009.
And that was a full city council meeting?
That was a street and alley committee meeting.
And it went to the full council after that?
Let's see, April 8th, April 15th. Says the motion was passed at the committee meeting, that's the one I just read. Council Spear reported the project should be done in late fall. Doesn't show that it was voted on.
So you're saying there was no motion before the council?
I'm looking here, give me a second. On April 1st, 2009, which that would have been after this committee meeting, or before this committee meeting, Councilperson McIsaac moved for approval, and Councilperson Octor seconded the motion. The motion passed unanimously. I'll back up here. The next item was the Bannock Railroad Street crossing. And yep, it was voted on April 1, 2009. Apparently, the street and alley meeting clarified the rolled curb and gutter and 6-foot sidewalks issue. The first thing I read was the street and alley. I think that's what it clarified, and that's what the motion was. So the motion before the council, Mr. McIsaac voted for it, and Councilperson Octor seconded it. The The motion passed unanimously.
Now, was that for the road sidewalk, or was that for the project?
That was for the project.
Would the clarification, that the street now, you did a week later, would that have had to have gone before the city council?
And it should have.
Thank you, JS. Any other questions?
Would that clarification not having gotten before the full city council have prevented the full project from going forward because the city council had before that voted in favor of the full project without the clarification?
I don't believe so.
So it's still within the project?
I think so.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Move for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I said yes.
Thank you all for your attendance.